Raider Nation, what's going on? Would you want Josh Gordon? I want you to type Y for yes or N for no. So if you're watching the show on YouTube or on Facebook, would you want Josh Gordon? My answer is coming up here in just a little bit. Nikki Bonds, drop that beat.
That's that autumn wind. Shout out to the Raiders, man, we about to win.
Is Josh Gordon done with the New England Patriots? You're watching the Raiders Report, the internet's most interactive Raiders channel. This one is for Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. Now, some of you are like, Mitch, why are we talking about the Patriots? Just be patient. I'm going to get into it here. So the Patriots, they placed Josh Gordon on injured reserve Wednesday, ending the receiver's run in New England. So Gordon, he had been playing through a left knee injury and then was knocked out of the team's October 10th win over the Giants when he injured the knee while attempting to make a tackle after a Patriots fumble. Or guess what? Probably should have been the tuck rule. I don't know about you. I think it's karma. So here's the thing. Josh Gordon didn't really know that he was being placed on IR. So here's what was put on Instagram. And I tried to highlight it as best as I could, but that's Flash Gordon, and all he wrote was interesting. All right? Interesting. We're also going to get to some more interesting things here on Instagram in a little bit. The Patriots, though, they used the minor injured reserve designation with him, which means the team has to release him upon his return to health. If this happens after Tuesday's trade deadline, don't be surprised if Gordon, okay, he's going to hit waivers and could be an option. Could be an option for the Oakland Raiders. Just saying. Oh, man, look at that subscribe thing on the bottom. Where did that come from? That's really cool. Oh, we're breaking out new things here on the Raiders Report. So is Josh Gordon done with the Patriots? For me, this one is for Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. So I'm going to ask you guys this question one more time. Would you want Josh Gordon? Type Y for yes or type N for no in the comments section. Josh Gordon has a long history of, well, not so goodness. I don't even know if that's a word. But when he's on the field, he is actually a very talented receiver, and the Raiders need a wide receiver. You know what? One player from the Raiders does want Josh Gordon. My man, Trent Brown. So Flash typed interesting. Trent goes, yo, come on, family. You always welcome at our house, which I respect. I also think Trent Brown in his spare time might be a recruiter for a marketing agency, because my man Trent, man, Stephon Diggs, hit him up. Now Flash Gordon, hitting him up. Trent, you want to come on the Raiders Report? You let me know, my man. So the next rumor is Josh Gordon coming to the Oakland Raiders. I was asked this. I can't even imagine. I can't even tell you how many times I was asked this question. This one, though, two Chucky heads, and people are talking. It's an interesting idea. We know that the Oakland Raiders are in the market for a wide receiver. Plus, you also have to consider the fact that Tyrell Williams has missed week 5. He's got plantar fasciitis. Yes, I said it correctly. But the reason why I think Josh Gordon to the Raiders is at least interesting is because the Raiders are still trying to save some money. And there is no doubt that Josh is a little bit of a risk, but he is talented. And if the Raiders would go on to sign him, it would cost them less than $1 million. Plus, what's the one thing that the Raiders still need? A X-receiver. Now, Tyrell's been great. But this depth chart with Josh is pretty. You can't deny that. So, Josh, I got to get you out of this Patriots jersey because I hate seeing it, and maybe get you into some silver and black. But when on the field, if we need a player who can stretch the field, Josh can do that. He is a big-time X-receiver, and John Gruden loves X-receivers. Now, we tried to go out and get an X-receiver this offseason. Please throw some FABs in the comments section. But if we can go out and get Josh Gordon, this at least gives you another threat for Derek Carr. And also the great thing about Josh, he is a super athletic wide receiver. And if the Raiders want to play this, we'll say a dink and dunk type offense, or they want to dump it off to a talented player like Josh, he can make things happen in the open field. And then also, Derek is actually one of the best players right now in the NFL, best quarterback at throwing the ball down the field. Josh Gordon, they call him Flash for a reason. So we hit 30K subscribers. We did it. And I am super proud to say that I'm a part of this show, and I love being able to do it. So, Edward 40 Hands, the video is going to be on my Instagram. So, if you want to watch it, go to Mitchell Renz 365 on my Instagram. I am posting the Edward 40 Hands video, actually, literally right after I get done doing the show. We hit 30K subscribers. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you do. YouTube.com/Raiders Report. Next rumor. I've talked about Vic Beasley a few times on the show, and are the Raiders interested in Vic Beasley? Before I had this as 2 Chucky heads, I'm now going to drop it down to only 1, and I think there's a small shred of truth in regards to the Raiders being interested in Vic Beasley. So NBC plagues the question, are the Raiders interested in Beasley? The Athletic reported that NFL teams right now are not very interested in going out and getting the pass rusher. The biggest reason is the inconsistency. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but John, guess what? He used to be a part of, the draft process, and his major concerns around Vic Beasley coming out of college were his effort. And the fact that John was worried about the effort then, he's still worried about it now. Now, Beasley, I get it, is a free agent in 2020. And Vic Beasley had, back in 2016, 15 and a half sacks. However, he really hasn't produced all that much the last 2 seasons. Plus, since his great 2016, my man's only had 11 and a half sacks. Now, I know the Raiders need a pass rusher, but I don't know if I can deal with the inconsistency of Beasley. Originally, when I thought about the idea of getting him, I was like, okay, maybe we could do it. But then I've watched some film. I've gone back and I've looked at it. And then I also know what kind of man John is. And if we can't get a Gruden grinder who's only going to play half the time for $12.81 million, I don't necessarily know if I want Vic Beasley anymore. That's why I gave this rumor only 1 Chucky head. And personally, I don't think that John's going to be able to deal with it. Now, hypothetically speaking, let's just say the Raiders go out and make a trade for Vic Beasley. Heck, the Dallas Cowboys, they just traded for Michael Bennett. Didn't see that one coming. So here's what it would look like. I still think you would see Vic Beasley and Cleveland Ferrell mixed in a little bit. I know Beasley is listed as a linebacker. However, he would play defensive end for the Oakland Raiders. And my man Max Crosby, man, he'd still be getting it done as well. So we are the most interactive show on YouTube and on Facebook. And the great thing about this show is this is about the nation. And it's about getting the voice of the nation. So I'm going to ask you guys this question. Should the Raiders trade for Vic Beasley? I want you to type T for trade, or I want you to type D for don't. Can you do that? I know I forgot an apostrophe, but guess what? My show and words, not my biggest strong suit. So should the Raiders trade for Vic Beasley? Type T for trade or type D for don't. Now, I also want to give a special shout out to today's sponsor, BetDSI, and anybody right now, please type BetDSI in the comments section. I always greatly appreciate that. Chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Raiders120 for 120% deposit bonus. I'm telling y'all right now, the Raiders are 6-point underdogs, maybe 5.5-point underdogs. Numbers, not my strong suit, but they're underdogs nonetheless against the Houston Texans. They're going to win this football game. I'm telling y'all, go bet on it at BetDSI. Let's go to my next 3 rumors here. Are the Oakland Raiders interested in Dion Jordan, defensive end? All right, this one's interesting. This one for me is 3 Chucky heads, and I think it's pretty likely. Now, that does not mean that there's 3 Chucky heads that they're going to sign him. I think that it's more of they're interested in him, and this is what could happen. The Raiders need defensive help. The Raiders need pass rushers. And what was the thing that Adam Schefter tweeted out? Don't be surprised if they're buyers at the deadline. But wait, what if the Raiders could actually go again a little bit cheaper here and roll the dice? I mean, after all, we are going to Vegas. So right now, according to reports, he's 273 pounds with only 8% body fat. More importantly, he feels good mentally. So Jordan, the reason why he was suspended last year, he takes Adderall for his ADHD. But his NFL waiver to take the drug had expired, and his appeal was denied by the league. So if you guys remember this, Dion Jordan was drafted by the Miami Dolphins in 2013, and then was suspended for 6 games in 2014 for violating the NFL's performance-enhancing drug policy. If you want a talented player who never really lived up to the hype, Dion Jordan fits that mold. He is an athletic freak, but just never really was able to find it in the NFL. He's only 29 years old. If he's mentally right, and at 273 pounds, it's kind of feels a little bit Arden Key-ish to me, but maybe we roll the dice and get a good player out of it. So should the Raiders sign Dion Jordan? I want you to type S for sign, or I want you to type L for leave. I like the idea of it. I'm all about taking risks right now, because right now we're not getting after the quarterback. And if we can get a little bit more pressure, Dion, I'm putting my faith in you. So if you want to wear silver and black, type S. Let's go to Trent Brown. We got some news on Trent Brown, some news on Tyrell Williams. Trent Brown, is my man going to play Week 8? I sure hope so, because the offense looks a lot better with Trent Brown. but I can only give this one 2 Chucky heads, and people are talking. And the guy who's talking is somebody who I think is pretty important for the Raiders. It's John Gruden. So Trent Brown missed Week 7 versus the Green Bay Packers with a calf injury. And I'll be honest, I was actually pretty surprised that he ended up missing the football game. And I think it really impacted the way that we were able to run our offense. So John Gruden said he has more than a 50-50 chance, which is literally 2 Chucky heads. And right now, I'd say it's questionable at best. I don't really know if those are like contradicting. I also don't know if I could spell contradicting. But if I got to watch David Sharp again in Week 8, going up against J.J. Watt and Merciless, I'm a little bit worried because I don't really think Sharp looked all that impressive. Now, Trent Brown on that right side, I want to see what it looks like with Trent Brown, with Gabe Jackson, with Rodney Hudson, Richie Incognito playing much better. Plus, Colton Miller is starting to live up to the hype. I literally think if the Raiders have Trent Brown out there on that offensive line, not only are we the most physical offensive line in the NFL, I would argue we're the best offensive line in the NFL. And the way that we're going to beat the Texans is by running the football with Josh Jacobs. And Trent Brown, one of the reasons why we made him the highest paid tackle in the league is because my dude can pave the way. And I'm telling y'all right now, we need Trent Brown out on the field. Throw some Trent Browns in the comments section. So if Trent Brown's able to play, this is the offensive line that we're going to be rocking up against the Houston Texans. And the best way that you're going to be able to beat the Texans is by running the football down their throat, killing the clock, not letting Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins kill you. So this is what it would look like with Trent Brown. However, this is what it's going to look like if Trent Brown is unable to go. Just insert Sharp in there. Sharp at times played okay, but he also got absolutely roasted this past week. Now, sure, Green Bay's had a lot better of a defense this year, and he's probably a little bit rusty. But let's be real. Trent Brown gives us a much better option in the run blocking and pass blocking game. So I have a question for everyone. What are you going to be for Halloween? Because on Friday, okay, it's National Chucky Head Day. So I got to put this on screen. So I want to know what you guys are going to be for Halloween. And somebody asked me, Mitch, if I dress up as you for Halloween, would you put it on the show? That one's for Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. If anybody wants to dress up like some douche that wears this and apparently a shirt from Raider Nation store, I will put you on the show. And if anybody asks you what you are, just look at them and say, for Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. Now, I don't know if anybody wants to see that kind of costume, but I also know this. Nobody wants to watch commercials either. So if you guys want to get rid of commercials for good, download the MyTV Choice app right now. Get rid of commercials for good. Chatsports.com/MyTV. The thing in the top left, that's your phone connecting to your television. Then you can get personalized content when you connect to Wi-Fi. So instead of watching Jake from State Farm, instead of watching, 4-hour commercials about erectile dysfunction, get rid of it. Get content from Chat Sports instead. Hopefully I can say that I got a good one from my producer. Let's go to the last rumor. Tyrell Williams is my man playing. Just like Trent, this one's only 2 Chucky heads, and people are talking. I wish I could give a better answer on Tyrell. There's no doubt that the offense would be a lot better with him. However, there is some optimism, and there is some good news. So Tyrell practiced on Thursday. That's a good sign. But we know he missed Week 5 and Week 7 with plantar fasciitis. And I talked to my good doctor friend, Dr. Jesse Morse, who was a little bit worried about the plantar fasciitis. But the fact that Tyrell was able to practice on a limited basis on Wednesday and on Thursday, that's a good sign. The issue, he's likely going to be a game-time decision. So if anybody has him in fantasy football, I'm sorry, it's going to be a game-time decision. But if he does play, chances are my man's scoring a touchdown because four games, 4 touchdowns. I don't know about you, that math kind of checks out. So if he can play, this is what we're rocking with this week. I want to see if Zay Jones also can work well with Tyrell Williams. If Williams is unable to go, look for Zay Jones to play this week with Trevor Davis, and then you're going to have Hunter Renfrow there because Dwayne Harris still banged up, Tyrell banged up. Marcel Aitman, Keelan Doss also going to play a bigger role, but the bigger role players here are the tight ends, Foster Moreau, also Derek Carrier, and my man, can't forget him, Darren Waller. So predict the score. It's a big-time game. Raiders versus the Texans. These are the latest odds at BetDSI, and I told y'all to go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Raiders120 and put your money on the Raiders beating the Texans, plus 5.5 underdogs. Yes, we're 5.5 underdogs. The over-under is 51.5. Actually, for me, I'm actually going to bet the under because I want the Raiders to run the football and kill the clock. Raiders versus Texans. Another important thing to note, since we hit 30K, Boston said I can do a watch party, and I'm super stoked. So Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be live here, okay? We're going to be live for the entire Raiders versus Texans game. So all I want you to do, if you're over 21, of course, grab a cold one. Let's hang out. Make sure you guys subscribe, youtube.com/RaidersReport, because I'm going to be live for Raiders versus Texans at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.